The lights above the Sarah Mitchell show studio hummed with anticipation. The set sparkled with calculated precision, warm, modern, designed to ignite televised conflict with just the right mix of elegance and edge. The audience had filed in early, murmurs swelling like a tide of expectation. They weren't just here for politics, they were here for spectacle. Caroline Levit sat quietly in the green room, back straight, fingers laced in her lap. She wasn't rehearsing. She didn't need to. Her mind moved with the calm of someone who had lived the debate 1,000 times already. She wasn't nervous, but she wasn't relaxed either. She was, ready. Across the hallway, Jamie Foxx scrolled his phone and chuckled. A clip of him impersonating Trump had just crossed 1 million views again. His publicist handed him a latte. "Just keep it light," she murmured. "Don't let her bait you." He winked. "I'm not here to fight. I'm here to entertain." He had no idea what was coming. Inside the studio, Sarah Mitchell adjusted her cue cards with a practiced flick. The veteran host had moderated senators, CEOs, even international leaders. But tonight had a scent of danger she couldn't shake. The girl's unpredictable, she thought, glancing at the monitor that showed Levit, still as a statue. As the cameras rolled, Caroline stepped into the spotlight from stage right. Blonde hair tied back, a crimson blazer slicing through the neutral tone set. She moved with measured purpose, her heels echoing like a war drum against polished wood. The crowd stirred, cheers and jeers collided in a rising storm of expectation. From the opposite side, Fox emerged with that familiar swagger. His megawatt smile lit up the room as he soaked in the applause, tossing a casual wave to the audience. He looked every bit the part. America's charismatic joker, Hollywood's golden son, confident, at ease. But beneath Caroline's still exterior, a storm brewed. They took their seats. Sarah Mitchell welcomed the crowd, outlined the ground rules, and introduced her guests. Award-winning actor Jamie Foxx and White House Press Secretary Caroline Levit. Tonight we discuss leadership, legacy, and truth. The polite applause quickly gave way to tension. Mitchell turned to Levit. "Caroline, you've accused former President Obama of undermining economic progress. Would you like to elaborate?" Caroline didn't blink. "Certainly. Obama didn't pass the baton. He kept it, just behind the scenes. He's the architect of policies that hollowed out America's middle class. And Jamie," she turned toward Fox with surgical precision, "you pretend Trump's your punchline. But what has Obama given Americans besides rising debt and lost jobs?" A murmur passed through the audience. Mitchell raised an eyebrow. Fox laughed, too loudly. "Come on, Caroline. You think your talking points are stronger than 8 years of stability? Obama rescued this country after a recession. I make fun of Trump because, honestly, it's too easy." Caroline's smile didn't budge. "Humor's a shield, Jaime, but it won't protect you from facts. Obama left a crippled economy and outsourced our future. That's not leadership, that's negligence." Fox blinked. His charm faltered for the first time. The crowd leaned in. Mitchell, sensing the shift, pivoted. "Mr. Fox, do you have a response?" Fox straightened. "Yeah, I do. Obama saved millions of jobs. Unlike Trump, he actually cared about working families, not just stock portfolios." Caroline didn't wait. "Saved them? Tell that to the factory workers whose jobs vanished under his trade deals. You're defending fantasy, Jaime, not facts." The first sharp "Caroline" shout pierced the crowd. Fox's jaw tensed. Mitchell stepped in, her voice tight but calm. "Let's stay on the topic. Economic impact." Caroline leaned forward, her tone icy. "Obama was a globalist. Trump was a builder. One talked unity, the other delivered results." Fox shook his head. "You're twisting history." Caroline's eyes narrowed. "No, Jaime, I'm remembering it clearly. You should try it sometime." Gasps, scattered applause, tension now crackled like static. The crowd had chosen its battlefield, and the storm was just beginning. Jamie Foxx adjusted in his seat. The smile he had worn like armor was beginning to crack. His fingers drummed nervously against the armrest. He had expected a firebrand. What he hadn't expected was this level of precision. Levit wasn't ranting. She was dissecting. "I just find it ironic," Fox began, forcing a chuckle, that someone who represents the most divisive administration in modern history wants to talk about unity. Levit didn't flinch. Unity without prosperity is just performative peace. Obama offered slogans. Trump offered jobs. You think Trump stood for unity? Fox snapped. He made Americans hate each other. He made Americans choose, Levit fired back. And some of us chose our country over curated celebrity politics. A low ooh rippled through the crowd. Mitchell lifted a hand to steady the atmosphere. Let's bring it back, she said evenly. Caroline, you've repeatedly accused the Obama administration of economic sabotage. Can you be specific? Levit leaned forward, her voice calm but chilling. Under Obama, the national debt nearly doubled. Manufacturing collapsed. Trade deals bled jobs overseas. And while working families were scraping by, Hollywood elites like Jamie were celebrating their latest box office wins as if the country wasn't burning. Fox's lips parted, stunned. Hold on. But Caroline wasn't done. You claim Obama rescued America. From what? From accountability? Fox stood. Okay, no, that's a lie. No, Jaime, she shot back. It's arithmetic. Mitchell, unshaken, raised a brow. Mr. Fox? He turned to the audience, desperate to regain footing. Obama brought hope. Trump brought division. That's not opinion. That's lived reality. But even his tone betrayed uncertainty now. Caroline let the silence hang just long enough. Hope, she said at last. Tell that to the coal miners, the truckers, the factory workers in Ohio. Obama's hope was a TED Talk. Trump's hope was a paycheck. The conservative section of the audience erupted. Chants of Caroline, Caroline, Joam, echoing through the studio like thunder. Fox shook his head, incredulous. Do you even hear yourself? You're romanticizing a man who weaponized fear. Caroline stood now, too, matching him step for step. And you're defending a man who normalized failure, who spoke like a savior and governed like a celebrity. Gasps, roars. The temperature in the studio skyrocketed. Fox pointed a trembling finger. You're twisting his legacy. You're making a villain out of a man who expanded healthcare, who brought decency back to the White House. Levit's voice sliced through him. Decency? Tell that to the veterans waiting months for care. Tell that to the parents who lost homes. If that's decency, Jamie, then your standards are as inflated as Hollywood's egos. Mitchell cut in, trying to calm the storm. Mr. Fox, would you like to respond with facts? Fox's voice cracked. She's using talking points. Obama pulled us out of the worst recession since the Great Depression. And he did it, Caroline replied coldly, by mortgaging the futures of working Americans. The applause came like a wave. Fox's composure began to slip. You're a mouthpiece, he said through clenched teeth. Just another political actor. Caroline smiled thinly. Says the literal actor. Laughter, loud and merciless. Fox's nostrils flared. You think this is funny? No, she replied, voice dropping low. I think it's tragic that a man with your reach chooses mockery over meaning. I'm not here to entertain. I'm here to expose. Fox blinked. For a heartbeat, he had no reply. Mitchell cleared her throat. We're going to take a short break. When we return, we'll ask our guests about the future. Whose vision truly leads America forward? The lights dimmed slightly, a camera swung wide. The tension didn't ease. It paused, like a fist unclenched but still trembling. In that quiet moment before the commercials, the camera caught Jamie Foxx wiping his forehead. Caroline Levit remained still, lips barely curved, eyes locked forward. She wasn't finished. When the cameras came back, the energy in the studio hadn't cooled. It had hardened. The crowd now sat at the edge of their seats, eyes darting between the two figures like spectators at the final round of a prize fight. Sarah Mitchell's voice broke the silence. Caroline, in your view, what defines American leadership in this moment? Levit didn't hesitate. Truth, strength, accountability. The days of smooth-talking politicians reading speeches off teleprompters are over. Americans don't want poetry. They want results. Trump delivered, Obama distracted. Before Mitchell could turn, Fox jumped in. You think truth means shouting down anyone who disagrees with you? That's not strength. That's intimidation dressed up as patriotism. Levit met his gaze, unmoved. No, Jamie. Truth means refusing to let propaganda pass as legacy. Obama's economic record is not untouchable, and you defending it with slogans doesn't make it holy. The crowd stirred, torn between applause and stunned silence. Mitchell gave Fox the floor. Final word, Jaime? He stood tall, voice steady but brittle. Barack Obama was a man of dignity. He believed in building bridges. He didn't mock, bully, or divide. He didn't insult half the country to praise the other. You call that weakness? I call it leadership. There was a pause, a beat of real emotion behind his words. Even Caroline blinked, but she recovered swiftly. I don't doubt he believed in those ideals, but belief without backbone leaves a nation vulnerable. He governed like a dreamer. Trump governed like a builder. And America needs builders right now. Fox opened his mouth, but Caroline raised a hand slightly. Calm, not rude. And you, Jamie, you mock Trump because it's popular, because it gets laughs. But behind that laugh is a sneer aimed at half of America, the half that shops at Walmart, that drives trucks, that sends sons to war. You're not punching up, you're punching down. There was a shift in the room. Some clapped, some froze. Fox looked to Mitchell, then to the crowd. That's not fair. Caroline's voice was low now, not icy, but resolute. No, Jamie. What's not fair is working 3 jobs and still struggling to afford a tank of gas while Hollywood lectures them about privilege. Fox's jaw clenched. His eyes burned. Mitchell stepped in. We've heard powerful arguments from both sides tonight, but I'd like to give each of you one final sentence, just one, to define your vision of America's future. Fox spoke first, slow and deliberate. An America where every voice matters, even those you disagree with. He sat back, exhaling. Caroline didn't miss a beat. An America that stands tall, not in spite of its flaws, but because it fights to fix them with strength, not spin. The audience roared. Mitchell nodded, face composed. That concludes tonight's debate. Thank you both. Applause rolled like thunder. As the cameras faded to black, Jamie Foxx turned stiffly, muttering to his manager as they exited stage left. She came here for war, not discussion. Backstage, he slammed a water bottle down and paced furiously. This isn't over. I'll answer on my stage. Within the hour, Fox's team began preparing a satirical sketch for Saturday Night Live, a desperate attempt to reframe the narrative and reclaim ground. But the internet had already decided. Clips of Levit's calm dismantling flooded TikTok, Twitter, and YouTube. Hashtags trended worldwide. #Caroline wins, #Fox down, Hollywood lost. Again, pundits on conservative networks praised her performance as surgical. Even critics on neutral outlets couldn't deny her dominance. The Atlantic called her dangerously prepared. Vanity Fair called Fox blindsided by his own ego. In a hotel suite that night, Caroline Levit stood by the window overlooking the city lights. Her phone buzzed nonstop. Texts, mentions, interviews. She didn't smile. She didn't gloat. She just whispered, "Truth speaks louder than applause." Her aide entered. "Caroline, Newsmax wants you live in 15 minutes. She turned, blazer crisp, voice clear. "Let's go." The war wasn't over, but tonight she had won.